Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. We got a review from a new release this week. It's out in comic shops and on bookstores. This is Drawn to Berlin, Comic Workshops and Refugee Shelters and Other Stories from a New Europe by Ali Fitzgerald and published by Fantagraphics. This graphic novel is, it's emotional, it's jaw-dropping, it's an amazing read. Definitely one of the best graphic novels I've read this year. So, Ali Fitzgerald is an American, lives in Berlin, and this graphic novel basically tells the story of her experiences working in a refugee shelter in Berlin, where she teaches drawing and works with some of the refugees to kind of, get them into the arts and stuff like that. And it's really just an example of comics journalism. Now, Fitzgerald herself admits that this isn't perfect at all as far as all the details. Some of the names are changed. There are parts where she took meticulous notes to make sure she got right and used images and photos that she took as references. So it's not, like every detail's perfect example of comics journalism. However, this graphic novel, like the point of it is just telling this broad story of what's going on in Europe and Berlin. It tells the tragic stories of numerous refugees, and they're not all from Syria, they're not all from Afghanistan, Eritrea, Bosnia, even I think Russia is mentioned. Like, there's just all sorts of people from outside of Germany who are just trying to find a place to settle down and start over again and get their lives going, who've been abused, who have seen death and destruction and things most of us can't even imagine or experience. And it's a tragic read. Like, there are numerous times I had to pause reading and get my emotions in check. I've no issues admitting there are parts that I choked back tears. There's also an amazing coldness at points where people who should be emotional are handling their experiences logically and in a way that, frankly, I'm like, I just don't know how you do it to discuss, so and so family members died. Or when asked where, your parents are, and you still say Aleppo, and, oh, how are they? And you say, I don't know. The phone's been cut off. I don't know how they are, and just kind of go on drawing whatever. It's an amazing reality. It's an amazing capture of reality. And this, it's just, yeah, like, it's haunting. Haunting, I think, is the best way of putting it. This is a graphic novel that, again, is one of the best things I've read. If you read this and you don't get emotionally tied up into it, if you don't feel your heart breaking for these individuals, I'll already say, I think there's something wrong with you. It's kind of hard to read this and not feel your humanity, to not feel heartbroken over what's going on. And as Fitzgerald points out, is we've seen this before and we know where it goes. She's done research. She's looked at Berlin's history when Jewish refugees came from all over the world to Berlin in, it seems like, the 1920s, before the Nazi takeover and death camps and all that. And this is really not just about the modern refugees, but also a reflection of the past refugees as well, like places that those refugees are that has been taken over in different ways. Some of it is to help modern refugees, and some of it is commercial. And it's this really interesting discussion and underlying discussion about paving over our past, forgetting our past, making the same mistakes, and not acknowledging reality and thinking about where we've come from and where we've been. And even herself writing this, she questions whether or not she has a right to create this graphic novel. She even herself will call this in questions of whether or not her telling these other people's stories is not itself a form of colonialism, and I don't know the answer of that to that. It's a fascinating graphic novel. This is one that entire book clubs can revolve around, and it's just, I mean, it's with me. Like, I don't know how else to describe this. So it's an amazing read. A little bit of downer, if you can't tell, and this is just, yeah, it's I think it's absolutely wonderful, amazing. If this isn't on some best of list, I would be shocked. It kind of takes the somewhat traditional comics of panels, except there's just not really panels. It tends to be free form art and pictures, and I really kind of dig it. Like, the style is really neat. The characters are fairly recognizable, and she does a great job of keeping things consistent and making it fairly easy to understand. It's all black and white, and there's just really some great stuff about it. And I think, like this last one that was here, to kind of give you a heartbreaking idea, is she's asked to draw a balloon underwater by some of the refugees that are in her class, and she keeps on trying to ask, like, oh, you mean a submarine? And they're like, no, a balloon. And she's like, oh, an octopus. And they're like, no, a balloon. And what they mean is an inflatable boat that capsized while they were crossing whatever body of water, and people died, babies died, and this is the image that haunts them, among other things. So I think up to, like, I thought this was, I enjoyed it and liked it and all that, and you get to that point particular, and just any wind gets taken out of you. It is a gut punch at that point. So have some Kleenex there, and definitely this is an emotional read, and I can't recommend it enough. I don't care what your political beliefs are, read this, and if this doesn't get you to at least feel for these people, like, I think you really need to rethink your worldview, and you don't necessarily have to agree with resettling refugees or any of that. Like, I'm not going with that. I'm just saying, if you don't read their stories and feel something about it, and just feel some, like, sadness that they're going through this, like, at that point, I question your humanity. And, I know this is deviating from a review, but this is a pretty hefty read. Yeah. It's out now in comic shops and bookstores, and obviously I recommend it. You should go get it from comic shops first and foremost. Always support your comic shop. They are the backbone of the industry. We have a link beneath this. Put in your zip code. It'll tell you if your shop's near you. If there's no shop, no problem. We got affiliate links, and there are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that, but go support your comic shop. I want to thank you for watching. Now, if you're into graphic novels, if you're into comics in general, if you are into this sort of subject matter, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, and Pinterest, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.